Hey there, Chad here, and this is another episode of Kerbal Space Program in 2021, except now it's 2022. And I'm not sure that I'm going to change the name of the series because I don't want people to get confused with the new version of Kerbal, which is currently scheduled to come out this year, although I haven't paid close attention to the news on it. But this is a continuation of where I last left off after landing on the moon and returning with Jeb. What I want to show today is something that's new to me. I've only done this once now in preparation for this video, and that is I want to do a repair mission, or I guess in what they're calling it in the mission is an attach a new part mission. I'm going to go to mission control, and the first mission I have available to me here is attach a new part to satellite in orbit of Kerbin. I can kind of consider this a repair mission. I'm going to go out and add something to a satellite that's already out there. Now, before recording this video, I had not done one of these before except to make sure I knew what I was doing so I didn't waste a lot of time making the video. There's some other missions here I'm going to grab as well. So in career mode, I don't have a whole lot of money right now. I need to build up some funds. So we'll probably do this explore the moon again. We'll also do some ferry missions over time to boost up the coffers a little bit. Space exploration is expensive, but now the only active mission I have is to attach a part to a satellite. So as I said, we need money. The reason we need money is we need to upgrade the vehicle assembly building. We still have some tracking station upgrades to do. Research and development needs to be upgraded. And research and development, we won't be able to use any of these technologies until the next upgrade. So that's something to consider. The money is important in the career mode. You don't just get everything. You have to work towards it. The astronaut complex, I think, is full. Well, we do have one more level of upgrade there. It allows us unlimited Kerbals. Right now we have a handful, and that's enough for what I'm doing. And the administration building could be upgraded as well. I haven't used this yet. I think the next video I might talk about how this works a little bit, but we're going to leave that alone for now. So let's go ahead and build our rocket to do this repair mission. Now, I've looked at the mission, and something to know about this is that the satellite that we're going to repair, its orbit is outside the orbit of the moon. It is way, way out there. So we need a pretty sizable rocket. And to save some time, I've actually already built the rocket, and I'm just going to load it here. The specs for it are fairly straightforward. It's several stages. We have a fairly significant booster to get us going. I have the larger fuel tank and large engine. There's a transient stages are here to move us out to the orbit of this satellite. So the satellite is way out there, and it is also at a very steep inclination. I think it's at about 10 degrees off of the planar orbit. So it's a significant amount of energy that we're going to need to get there. This rocket with 6,400 delta V in vacuum should be enough to get there and get back. One other thing that's on this rocket that isn't completely evident, I have a lot of monopropellant. The monopropellant I'm going to use to navigate up to the satellite that's getting repaired, but also it can be used to help with deorbiting, and it might come down to that. You just never know. The really important thing here that I haven't done before on any of my rockets in previous videos is we have a service bay, and inside that service bay is the cargo storage unit. That cargo storage unit has this battery in it. That is what is necessary for this particular mission. So if we look here, we need to attach a rechargeable battery on the satellite. It's basically what that all says. So we're going to do a standard launch, and I'm going to kind of zip through that. I'm not going to waste your time with the mundane. We're going to get this guy in orbit, and at that point I'll talk about how we plan and intercept with something like a satellite that's so far away. Okay, and I got all excited about getting to the landing pad, and I realized I forgot something very important, and that is Bill Kerbin. So we need to come over to crew, and the second seat is empty. In order to do a repair mission, you have to have an engineer. So Bill is going to get his first chance to fly in space. We'll put Bill in this craft. I'm going to go ahead and save it just so I don't let that happen again. And off to the launch pad we go. Dusk is rapidly approaching here at the Kerbal Space Center as we get ready for our launch. And one thing I will demonstrate here real quick is how far out we're talking. This is the satellite we're going to, and this is the moon. So it's out there. Also, you'll notice it is got a pretty serious inclination there. Okay, so let's go ahead and move forward with the launch. I think I failed to mention this. On top of the solid rocket boosters, I have some liquid fuel. I will not use all of this liquid fuel before cutting the solid rocket boosters loose. It's just it's there to kind of make sure that the main engine has plenty of fuel once it's up a little bit. So this tank will be completely full once these all cut away. Pretty typical. I've done this before. Also, we're going to turn on the RCS. This is not the easiest rocket to fly that I've ever built. It has a ton of thrust to weight to start. I'm going to back that way down so we're not using quite as much of that fuel, although I've got more fuel than I need, so I'm not sure why I'm worried about it. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, I mentioned that I'd only flown one repair mission before recording this. It was basically as practice to make sure I didn't waste everybody's time and I knew what I was doing, and that was true right up to the point where my recorder recorded the wrong screen when I did the video the first time. So this is actually take 2 of this video. I have flown this mission successfully one other time now. You know, practice makes perfect, I suppose. However, the first one went really, really well. I was very pleased with it. I was discouraged that the screen capture went for the wrong screen. Next step, I want to select this guy as my target, and I want to get this sorted out. And that's way too close. I'm never going to finish making that node for there. So we will do it on the other side. The reason you do the change here is it uses the least amount of fuel. And that is because the way the math works, you can get it's a lever, right? You get the most effect at this point. Think of it like a fulcrum, I guess. All right, and then what I do is I try to get that to 90 degrees from where I'm at to get it as close as possible. And I think that'll probably get it done for us. You know, that's not ideal, but I think it will be usable. So we have 15 minutes before we need to do that. I think we will indeed do a little bit of speeding things up here. Yes, I can just set this to anti-normal because that's all we changed. We're going to use another 330 delta V. We have 755, so we're going to use half of what we have left. And it's drifting a little bit. We don't want it to drift. We'll call it right there. Okay, I did not get that close enough. So we'll do one more adjustment here, hopefully with slightly better result. Yeah, that'll be a lot tighter. So, you know, we're saving ourselves a lot of time later by taking the time to do it right here. We'll fast forward to that one. Okay, I think we did too much there. So we're going to use some monopropellant to see if we can kind of fix that by backing up a little bit. Although this will probably work for what we need to do for now, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. Like I said, we want to get it as close as we can. It doesn't need to be perfect. Okay, so now to make an intersect with this guy out here, he's currently our target, and that's great. We will want to do what we do for doing a intercepting or a planet, or really anything else. We're going to put it at 3 o'clock, looking from above, and we will set a node at 6 o'clock. Now, I'm going to fast forward so that my ship is past there, though. I don't want to do it this orbit. That's not enough time. 1 minute is not enough for me to get this right. So real quick, we will speed time up, and we will go ahead and put the node on the Apo there. All right. This puts me way ahead of the way ahead of the satellite. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. There's a couple of ways you could approach this. The fact that I'm ahead of it, I will stay ahead of it because my orbit is much shorter than its, right? So I have a lot less distance to travel. With that said, once I get out here, I need to kind of make the orbit more similar to its. And that'll be my next step. When I'm basically right out here where this sits on that orbit, I will make as close to an identical orbit as possible. And that should get me to where I can interact with the satellite fairly easily, or quickly, I should say. So we're going to work towards that now. Shouldn't be forgotten that I still have a little bit of delta V here. You know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and just burn that and drop that. It'll change, you know, the current orbit a little bit, but it'll start to expand this out and get us a little closer to what we want in the long run. And then I can fly a little bit more nimble ship once I have the big tank off. So we'll go ahead and let that run just for a few seconds, and you'll see this will start to kick out there. And that's it. And we'll cut that guy loose. Start the next stage. Okay, and there we go. So with that said, I'm going to want to reset this guy. And now Apo is going to be way out there. We'll set this new node right about there. And we'll work with that. That would be absolutely amazing, except for the relative speed difference. That's a tremendous amount of speed to overcome. I mean, you know, it's 360 meters per second of delta V that'll be spent just to slow down. But the thing is we're not going to have a whole lot of options there. That's kind of the way this ends up working. So let's see if we can do anything to make that a little cleaner. It doesn't need to be perfect. You just want to get it close, and we will be adjusting it further once the ship is actually out there. We're going to go with right there. It is not perfect, so we're ultimately going to end up probably meeting up with it way over here, and that's fine. This will get us started. So that's going to be half of our remaining delta V in this stage, and that's fine. What has to be done. I'm adding a little bit of monopropellant thruster, so RCS thruster acceleration to this. It does two things for me. First of all, I have way more mono than I need. So I'm going to burn through some of it, which will lighten the load, which makes our engine more efficient because it's pushing less weight. Plus, I also get just a little fraction of increased thrust as well. It's going to take 3 days to get out there. So there's a couple of things we can do. I could go with this. So we'll be behind the satellite when we get here, and that would be fine. I could try to circularize the orbit as closely as possible there and catch up if possible. Let's see how close we are on. Yeah, from a planar perspective, it's pretty good. The other thing I could do is when I'm at this point, I'll be this much ahead of it, right? So it's going to make up this much distance when I travel just that far. That's kind of remarkable. We'll be moving very, very slowly out here. And that's fine. What I could do is maybe start to do a change here and see what it does for us. In fact, I think that might be a good thought. Let's go ahead and put a node there and start playing with it and see what it looks like. So we will flatten that out. Okay, I'm going to speed up playback here to about 3 times speed, but basically what you do is you adjust this node to get as clean of an intersect as you can, and then once you're out there, so I'll fast forward here in just a moment and warp to that node. You'll make another node and again try to match the orbit of the target as closely as you can. It takes a little practice, but really it's no different than finding the right intersect for a celestial body or for doing a rendezvous, anything like that. It's pretty much the same practice. So enjoy watching the rest of this and then we'll move on. We're just going to use monopropellant to close that gap. That's about as close as I can get it right now. I simply don't have the ability to slow it down from there. I suppose what I could do is come in here. So pro tip, you could come in here and I think you can limit the amount of, you could limit the thrusters. That would allow me to fine tune that quite a bit better, I think. Let's see if that's the case. Haven't done that before. Yeah, there we go. That looks like as close as we're going to get it right now, though. Not really seeing a way to... Yeah, those numbers aren't getting any tighter than that right there, working in all 3 planes. So that's okay, though. I'm actually pretty comfortable with that. Now, before I forget, I'm going to come back out here and turn those back up. Yeah, let's keep them at 100. And I'm going to time warp out to here, and let's see what we're looking at once we're getting much, much closer. So 6 days. Okay, so let's see if we can match that any better. It doesn't look like we can, and that's fine. What about going the other way? It probably makes it worse. Yeah, it makes it worse. So try to put that at about 90 degrees of where we're at. Right there. So that'll be as close as we're going to get there for now. And then we can just play with acceleration and deceleration. The other thing I can do is brute force it. Let's see how close we can get it doing this. That's actually getting a lot closer than I thought it would. Okay, so there's that, and then we can tighten it up here. So what I'm doing now, I'm just kind of playing with the thrusters in the different, wow, 100 meters. Let's go with that, and then we're going to use the engine to kill the speed difference. I think that's our best bet. So I was just using the thrusters to adjust the attitude of the ship, not so much the attitude, I'm sorry, not the attitude of the ship, but its relevant position to its current orbit. So we're using the side-to-side thrusters and the up and down thrusters is basically what was happening there. What I want to do is find my target if I can. So right now it should be towards the planet from me, a little behind the center of the planet. Not seeing it yet. Our distance is probably enough that it's just not rendering yet. Oh, I don't know, 200, probably once it's inside 200 we'll see it. Okay, so now I'm going to do what I always do for docking procedures. I'm going to lock the camera behind the ship. So there we are. So the ship is pointing retro right now. Still not seeing our target. Okay, so I'm going to sit right here behind it. I'm going to go back to the map view. And I'm going to accelerate time a little bit. Get us to where we should be able to see it. That should do it right there. All right, and there it is. So there's our target. Okay, 52. And this is our target velocity difference right now. And what we do is we're going to point, let's point prograde. Okay, and then the next thing I'm going to do is I need to figure out, am I closing in this attitude? And it looks like I am not. I'm speeding up the difference, and I don't want to do that. I want to get this to as close to 0 as possible. So right now I'm in prograde. I'm going to switch to retrograde, and then I can use the big engine to kill the speed once we're on top of the other craft. Okay, so I'm going to do a time warp here, but not too fast. When I start to get closer, I will probably inside of 50 kilometers, I'll start to see the actual distance on the screen there as opposed to over in the flight engineer. Go a little faster. Don't want to close too quickly. All right, so I was off a little bit. We're inside of 35 now, and I'm still not seeing that. There it is at 20. Okay, so when I get down to about 10, I'm going to kill the time warp. Okay. Now, if I look out here, my intersect is 1.2 kilometers. So I've increased that, and we can change that a little bit. But we don't want to waste too much time doing this. The important thing right now is going to be to kill that speed. With that said, the engine is going to tremendously okay, and that's probably it right there. It's close we're going to get. The engine will do this very, very quickly. Just a test. Okay, we lost 4 meters per second there. That's how quickly we're talking. So I can probably get to within 2 kilometers here pretty safely and not have anything to worry about with blowing past the ship. We're almost to the fun part, I promise. Okay. I actually want to get a little closer. Now that'll do it right there. So now I'm going to kill the difference in our speeds. Okay, and I can do the rest with monopropellant. There we go. All right, so we're basically floating in almost identical orbits now. And what I want to do is put myself behind the target. I want to basically fly at the target. So I'm going to point at it. There it is. And I'm going to accelerate. Now, over large distances, that can be a problem, but when we're large distances in time, as we move through our orbits will be different and we'll start to float away because I'm either going to be moving closer to the planet or further away from the planet than the target is right now. But in the shorter segment of time, I can use my relative position and velocity to close the distance. So this will work in, something that I'm going to do for a minute. It would not work for something that I want to have work out over the next hour. That would drastically change our orbits, and we'd be in very different planes at that point. So I've moved my speed up to 8.5 meters a second. That's a little more than I really want it to, but we'll go with it. kind of try to get myself a little better, equate it with where it's at. I might have overdone it there. A little bit of time warp. Kill it there. I'm going to point at the ship again. And now I need to kill that velocity difference. So we will point here, and as quickly as possible I'm going to decelerate, and I've already blown it. That was my bad. I did not handle that well. All right, now we'll go look for the ship again. There it is. And this works just like docking at this point. I literally just want to get close to it, and then I want to kind of zero out our change in relative position. I was going the wrong way there. Okay, so I like that there. Got to kill 2 meters this time. That's a lot more attainable. Still kind of far from the ship. I'd like to be a little closer, but we'll go ahead and kill that. And we will pitch up towards it. And now we're in the kind of that safe zone where I should be able to do pretty much anything I need to without completely wrecking my attitude and all that. Get closer. Okay, I think we've passed it. Yeah, we've moved past it, but that's fine. We can back up a little. Get ourselves just a hair closer. Okay, there we go. That's pretty darn close, and I think that's close enough for what we need to do. So here's the next steps, and this is probably easier than you're thinking it would be. I've read a couple of descriptions on how to do this, and I was like, how do you ever make that work? And it turns out I think people are overcomplicating it. What we do is we have Bill go out on an EVA, and he's just going to stand there, and then we're going to open this. There's our battery that we need. We're going to come over here and click this guy. That puts us in build mode. And I'm going to drag this. Whoops. I'm going to click the battery. I'm not going to drag it. I'm going to click it. I do not have my mouse held down right now. And we're going to put the battery somewhere on there. I think maybe we drifted too far away. Oh, there we go. There, battery's connected. The contract is completed. It was that easy, actually. So Bill's hanging onto the ship. All I did is put the battery there and clicked it. And we are done. We can close that. We can close this. Bill can get back in the ship. And now all we have to do is get back to the planet. The rest of this mission takes about another 10 minutes to get back to the planet. And it's not something that hasn't been done 20 times before. So we're going to skip that part, just kind of fire through there and advance to the re-entry and landing, basically the splashdown. These repair missions are very profitable and they're really simple to do. And like I said, it looks like some write-ups make it really complicated about trying to get the part and the astronaut over to the thing that needs to be fixed, and it's just simply a lot. It's not that difficult. It's a lot simpler than that. The hardest part is getting to the ship, particularly in an orbit like this one. Nice shadow there. All right, they made it. Recover that vessel, and we'll do a few more commercial endeavors here in the next couple of videos to make some money and start to advance our science project. Maybe we should look at starting to go to some of the other planets and see what they look like. I think that might be some fun. move through this. No science gained. We did gain quite a bit of fundage. We were at about 597, I think, is where we started. After building the ship, we made about 100,000 for that mission, which is good. We'll do a few ferry missions to make up some money pretty quickly so that we can start advancing in some of the other areas a little more quickly again. And Bill leveled up. He's now level 1. Congratulations, Bill. And that's it for this episode. Thank you for watching. If there's anything you need help with, don't hesitate to leave a comment. I'll help where I can. Enjoy making these videos knowing that people are benefiting from them and learning stuff. So again, thanks this time, and until next time, fair travels.